Noche Paranormal Real Stories. Episode 2. Sanfretta, the most macabre side of the unidentified flying object phenomenon. There are stories we like because they're far away. They happen in the Nevada deserts, in secret military bases, in places we'll never go. We feel safe because the horror is over there, thousands of miles away. But what happens when the impossible lands in your own backyard? What happens when the monster is waiting for you at your everyday job? Today we're going to open one of the most violent and credible cases in the history of European ufology. Forget about the pretty lights in the sky. Forget about the messages of peace. What happened to Pier Fortunato Sanfretta wasn't an encounter, it was a hunt. We're in Genoa province, Italy. It's the night of December 6th, 1978. The cold cuts through your skin. The roads are empty and icy. Sanfretta is an ordinary man, a private security guard, a tough guy, and a family man who works for the Valvisano Security Cooperative. His job is simple: to patrol the villas of the rich, which are empty in winter. Check doors, shine a light on windows, move along. That night, Sanfretta drives his Fiat 126 through the sharp curves of Torriglia. Everything is routine until he arrives at the Villa Casa Nostra. Suddenly the car dies. It's not a normal mechanical failure. The engine shuts off, the lights go out, the radio turns off, and there's total silence. Sanfretta looks toward the house's garden and sees 4 lights moving. His first reaction is logical, human. He thinks they're thieves. Did they break in to steal? He grabs his revolver, a Smetan Besson, and a flashlight and gets out of the car. He walks toward the back of the house, pressed against the wall, ready to shout a warning. But as he turns the corner, he freezes. Weren't they thieves? Something big awaited him. Sanfretta experiences an intense, suffocating heat in the freezing night. He lifts his flashlight, revealing a nightmare. In front of him, just a few meters away, there is a creature, but it's not a gray. It's not a dwarf, big-headed one. It's a giant, almost 3 meters tall. Sanfretta later describes it in terrifying detail: green, wrinkled skin, as if it were a reptile or a dead plant. The head is broad, covered in spines or scales, with eyes as 2 yellow, self-luminous triangles. The guard tries to raise his weapon, wants to shoot, but he can't. He feels an invisible force crushing him. The creature emits a sound like a mechanical hiss, and Sanfretta falls to his knees. The heat rises and he feels like he's burning. He last remembers the thing approaching, followed by a blinding triangular light filling the yard, an immense craft that had silently descended. Sanfretta runs like he never has in his life toward the car, tries to call for help on the radio. Help, 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 please. They're not human, they're not human. His colleagues at the station hear the desperate scream. My God, how ugly it is. They're not men. They're not men. Then, the radio cuts off when the other patrols arrive at the scene. An hour later, they find a scene of madness. Sanfretta is lying on the ground unconscious, in a fetal position. When they touch him, he's burning with fever. His clothes are hot. The car, the Fiat, is boiling as if it had been inside an oven, even though the temperature outside is below 0. And on the ground, in the frosty mud, they find the footprints. Footprints, 50 centimeters long, shaped like a horseshoe, so deep that they indicate a weight of hundreds of kilos. Something huge and heavy. It had walked around the guard. The police, the Carabinieri investigated. They thought it was a joke, that Sanfretta was crazy or drunk, but the man wasn't lying. He was in real post-traumatic shock. What follows is the darkest part of the case, because Sanfretta didn't remember what had happened in that lost hour. His memory was blank, so they decided to subject him to regressive hypnosis with Dr. Mauro Moretti. And there, on the examination table, the guard went back to hell. In the sessions, Sanfretta doesn't describe a glorious space journey. He describes a torture chamber. He says the beings took him inside the ship, says the place was suffocating and humid, and describes how they examined him like a laboratory rat. But there's one detail that keeps coming up and is the key to this case: the helmet. Sanfretta starts screaming in the middle of hypnosis, grabs his head, cries, and says they put a device on his skull. A helmet that transmits voices, gives him orders, and causes him unbearable pain. He asks them, "What do you want?" "Why me?" And the answer he gets is chilling: "Because we can." This is where the unidentified flying object phenomenon touches the edge of the demonic. During one of the sessions, Sanfretta's voice changes. The doctor asks Sanfretta a question, but the one who answers isn't him. A metallic, guttural, slow voice comes out of his throat, a voice that doesn't sound human. That voice, speaking through the guard, tells the doctor, "You know nothing, you are small, we are the masters." Are we dealing with a technological abduction or a possession? What difference does it make if the result is the total annulment of human will? The most terrifying thing about the Sanfretta case? It's not that it happened once, it's that it kept happening over the next 2 years. Sanfretta was abducted, according to his reports and witnesses, at least 10 more times. They found him on the top of mountains that were impossible to reach by car. They found him in a trance state, speaking unknown languages. His life became a constant watch, looking at the sky, waiting for the moment when they would come back for him. The doctors couldn't explain the marks on his body. The police couldn't explain the giant footprints or the radiation found on his clothes. And Sanfretta never made any money from this. He only gained fear. In his last session, he left a message that these beings, whom he calls the Dargos, forced him to memorize. They said they were imprisoned, that Earth is just one more step. Today, Pier Fortunato Sanfretta is an old man. He lives in retirement, but they say he still sleeps with a light on. And maybe he's right, because Sanfretta's story teaches us something we don't want to admit. We are not the alpha predators of this planet. Sometimes we are just the prey walking unsuspectingly in the dark. If you have to go out tonight, if you see a strange light, don't get out of the car. Don't look. Just speed up. Just speed up. This was a late-night paranormal investigation. I am Hector Rossi. And remember, we're not alone. I wish we were. See you next Sunday.